Hello wonderful humans, and welcome back to another video where I talk about The Shadow Rising. It's over here. I keep putting it in different places and I can never quite find it. The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, book 4 in the Wheel of Time series. And today I'm going to be talking about chapters 38 through to, good question, chapter 44, I think. Yeah, chapter 44. And in case you're new here, I know most of you are probably not new here. If you're new here, you probably should go back and watch my other videos actually, just to see where I'm at. But I read a chapter of the book and then I write 1 page of notes on each chapter, my initial reactions immediately after reading the chapter before I start on the next one. So that means a lot of these are just ramblings that don't make a lot of sense to me at this stage. I take a few guesses at what's going on. I ask a lot of questions, most of which I'm not expecting an answer to, and really I just share what I'm thinking about the book in the moment so that you can experience that as well. And hopefully, if you've read the book and it was a while since you've read the book, you'll be reliving some of that through what I'm talking about. And if not, you might just be experiencing a different view of reading it. So I'm going to get started now without any further discussion with chapter 38, Hidden Faces. A map! A map! I got really excited. There was a map in this part and I love a map. Who doesn't love a map? So the map, in case you don't remember, it's a map of Tanchico. It's pretty cool. I think we've had the overarching map, and there may have been one other map in the Eye of the World, but I think this is the first new map we've had since then. I think I need to go back. I should go back and check. Maybe I'll do that later. But what I assume this means is that the layout of the city Tanchico is important to the story. Otherwise, why include a map of Tanchico and not include a map of, say, Tia or Camelin or somewhere like that? I want more maps. Give me more maps. I really do love a map. It helps me really picture what's going on, where they are, and as it does with most people. Maybe there's a book of Wheel of Time maps that I can have a look out for and buy that at some point. Maybe. Let me know if you know of a book that would be good with lots of maps in it of Wheel of Time places all in the one spot, so I don't have to keep flipping back when I want to look at the map. Let me know. So I love this how intertwined this all was. This was actually a really cool chapter. It gives a real insight into the messy political landscape, just the feel of how the story wove through these people. Like it went with this person, then it went back to this person, then this person went over here, and then back. Like it was like this real great introduction to the feeling of Tanchico, and I really enjoyed that. Things kept moving from person to place. Everyone has a plan and is using other people, and they're all interacting with each other. They all know each other in some way. It's just really, really cool. It was surprisingly cool once I worked out what was going on. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. About 20 motorbikes just stopped out the front of my house and they were all revving. So I'm back. Where was I? So yeah, it took me a while to get used to this chapter and the feel of it, new characters and all of that. But once I worked out what was actually happening and who these people were, I just really loved how it set the tone. So Egenin, the Sonchen woman, works for the High Lady Suroth from chapter 1. That's cool, connections there. Gelb, who I was sure was bad news back in the Eye of the World, was positive. I was so fixated on Gelb, and he proved to not be of any importance whatsoever, is back. I don't know whether he's going to have a huge part, but he's as slimy and awful as ever, so that's nice to see him. Egenin, that's what I'm going with. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. You know who I'm talking about. She's hunting for Soldans, which is really interesting. What's going on there is fascinating. Wow. Joachim Carridin, or Boaz, is back. but he's got a lot of question marks over his intentions as well. He seems shut off emotionally, like I think he's doing that to protect himself, but also maybe because that's the kind of person he is. From the fact his family are being killed. He's an interesting one. I know we met him in the prologue for The Great Hunt. So he was questioning things then, and he was trying to manipulate or trying to pull himself away or something. And obviously that's not happened. So anyway, that's interesting to watch his stuff unfold. Leandrin has realised they may all have been given different instructions regarding Rand. I think this was a bit of a wake-up call for her, maybe about how important or unimportant she is. She probably thought she was more important than she is and doesn't know the full picture. But she has no idea why they've all been given different instructions, and just blamed the Forsaken, or that's the Aes Sedai, the Black Aja, blamed the Forsaken for the mix-up. Whereas I think there's a bigger plan, and I don't think it's necessarily just the Forsaken that are doing that. I think that's part of it, but not the only part of it. We see King Andric briefly, but I doubt he'll be very important as a character. He might be important given the political situation and all that, but I doubt that he'll be important as a character. I think it's possible that he'll just be doing his thing, which provides a stage for everything else to happen. I am curious to know whether Lady Amethera will actually be a character to pay attention to, or whether she will also be a background character. I'm just making assumptions here. I may be proven wrong that the king is actually quite important. I just don't feel that he's been set up to be important at this stage. We see many glimpses of things here, just many glimpses of things happening here. Setting the scene of Tanchico, I think, is a big part of what we see here. And some intense stuff to come. I think a lot of groundwork was laid here. It introduced us to the culture, the clothing, the feel of the place and all this, but also laid a lot of seeds, planted the seeds for what is to come. And that's really exciting because just don't know anything about what to expect here at all. I was right that the Seanchan have a presence here, but I wasn't right in thinking, I thought there might be more and that they were going to come up against the Seanchan in a bigger way. Doesn't mean that they won't. It just means that the High Lady Suroth, I thought may have been in Tanchico, but she's on an island, so that didn't work out. I think on the map, just as a little side note to start with, when I looked at Tanchico on the map, I thought that Tanchico was the islands. I've looked at it properly now, obviously, and I know that it's over here. So I think that's why I initially thought way back, like right at the start of the book, that maybe Lady Suroth, was in Tanchico. That was my assumption there, but it makes a lot more sense when I look at the map properly. I do know how to read a map. I don't know why I thought that, but it makes more sense now. So anyway, that was just a little side note there. So the things Egwene saw in the Panarch's palace appear to be very important and a big part of why they're here, which she sort of guessed at, but I'm hoping she explained it properly to the other two, especially the collar. It seems like this is what Leandrin is after. The Black Aja are after this collar that Egwene saw that had that evil kind of, or weird dark feel to it. Also, the Black Aja have less control than Leandrin wants. She wants people bowing to her already. They don't even know how to use the ter'angreals they took, which I thought was interesting. One of them can create balefire, but they don't know how to use it or use it properly. They just did what they were told. I think Leandrin knows that too, or is at least realizing that she's got less control than she thought she did, and she's maybe less important, even if she'll never admit that. But maybe she's realizing that she's being manipulated, or maybe there's a little bit of a grain of suspicion there that someone else is pulling the strings and she doesn't quite know the full picture yet. Anyway, and side note, literal side note, and Captain Domin, yay! I think I was a bit worried that maybe he's being forced to do things against his will, but I'm not actually worried about that. I crossed that out. So why am I sharing it with you? Anyway, I feel a lot of stuff happened here which will become more relevant as we go on through the story. Almost like this is a prologue to this part of the book. I felt this was very much that same vibe that the prologues have in other books. So I'd say that this is really that setting the scene. Really important stuff in it, but more about setting the scene and giving us the information that we need, and introducing us to the key players in this part of the book. So interesting. There's not a whole lot of time to break that open because we're in the final 8, heading into the final quarter of the book now, or just over the quarter of the book. So there's not a whole lot of time to break this open. So I'll be interested to see. I hope it doesn't feel too rushed what goes on with Elaine and Nynaeve. Back to my notes because I'm talking a lot today. Chapter 39, A Cup of Wine. I don't even know where to start. I can't cover everything that happened in this chapter. It's just not possible. They leave the Sea Folk only to find Captain Domin, which is awesome. Coincidence? I think not. I think that we can tell he's a key player and is involved in the pattern in some way, from what I can tell. He's involved in this because he just keeps popping up. He wouldn't keep popping up if he wasn't important. It's nice to see little things like the Ilian and Tia animosity. I think that's really great between Julien and Domin. I thought that was really nice, just little things. Seeing how that plays out between normal people as opposed to just the noble or political people. It's a cultural thing, and I think that's really, really cool. I can't believe Nynaeve keeps telling people they're hunting the Black Aja. Doesn't she know they don't exist? as I keep getting told. At least Elaine is as surprised as me about Nynaeve's actions. Actually, scratch that, I'm not surprised. Nynaeve is opposite to the Aes Sedai and is almost setting herself up to be opposite to them. She doesn't keep secrets for no reason. Although she does still have a lot of that manipulative, better than you kind of attitude going on, especially with Tom and Julien, given she didn't tell them what they were going to do until they were on the boat almost there, so there was no way for them to leave. Anyway, so I think that it's not surprising, but it kind of was I was surprised that Nynaeve wouldn't just let that out, but I suppose she wants to keep people safe, doesn't want the same thing, has learnt from the events of the last book by not telling Julien that it was the Black Aja, it was Aes Sedai that he was looking for, he set him up to fail, so maybe she learnt from that. It means the 3 men know what the danger is, or at least part of it. They don't know the full story, but they know at least part of it. So maybe they can be a bit more careful and also be a bit more useful as well. So that's really good. Elaine getting drunk is a really great reminder of how naive and sheltered she really is. In a different way to the Two Rivers folk. They're sheltered as well, but in a very different way to how she is sheltered. So much so that it helps Nynaeve remember they haven't had the same experiences. And I think that's really important. They've spent so much time together. It's easy to forget that she's not had the same experiences of the Two Rivers and all that. So it's important for Nynaeve just to remember sometimes that, hang on, Elaine can make the same mistakes or can make mistakes or can experience things in a completely different way to Nynaeve. So that's really important for them to know. Elaine will have to be more careful in taverns and common rooms in the future. She's really lucky nothing worse happened. I actually kind of thought that the guy would try and follow her up to the room and it would become an issue, but I'm glad it didn't. The second time they felt someone watching them in the heart of the stone. So last time I think it was Elaine, they had that sense that someone was watching them, and Nynaeve's experiencing that again now. Is it just nerves, or is someone actually there? Like, is someone watching them somehow that they don't know about? That's a bit of a worry. Birgitte is wandering through Tel'aran'rhiod. Why? Why is she there? To protect, just because she likes hanging out there? I don't know. That is really cool. she's a character I'm really looking forward to finding out more about. She's obviously a legend, so we're not learning a whole lot about her because they already know about her, and we tend to learn things that they don't know about the people we're following. So I'm looking forward to finding out more there. I expect we'll see a lot more of her as we go on, especially as they're exploring the dream world. And at least 2 men are there in the dream world. Is one Slayer? I assume one of them is Slayer. That potentially suggests the Danger, Forsaken, maybe, in the 2 rivers and the wasteland, which matches with what I'm thinking. I'm assuming at the moment that anyone who is sort of doing this and is a man is one of the Forsaken, because that makes sense to me, but maybe not. I assume that that's what's going on. This is going to be epic. It's just going to be epic. A man who looks like Lan. Like, there's obviously going to be some kind of connection, which I have a little memory of something that could be interesting, or there could be some story connected to that from the first or the second book. I can't remember. I might need to go and have a look at that again. I'll look that up. Anyway, between Domin, Tom and Julin, they stand a strong chance of finding what they're looking for or who they're looking for. Plus, the veils are very convenient, and we learn about them in the last chapter, the prologue-ish type chapter, which was great. So we knew that there was a common thing for people to wear. It's a very convenient disguise so that for the girls, so that they can get out and about and hopefully go unnoticed. Now, last question I've got here, is Rendra in any way related to Liandrin? It's a possibility. We know that Liandrin comes from, I think we know that she comes from Terrebonne. I don't think I'm making that up. So it's a possibility that they're related. Also, it's not necessarily the case, but it is a possibility, the fact that they look so similar, that maybe they are. Or maybe that's just a normal kind of look for someone from Terrebonne to have, maybe. Chapter 40, Hunter of Trollocs. I knew something was going to happen for Perrin to feel guilty about. He had to. Like, that's one of Perrin's things. He feels guilty about things. Losing 27 of his 2 rivers men, boys, whatever you want to call them, it's going to stick with him for a while. He's not going to forgive himself for this for a while, I'm guessing. I'm happy and sad that he's able to visit his family's grave and have a little bit of time there. Devastated for him that he needs to do that, but really glad he's had some time there, even if it's probably not enough, and it's probably the case that he wants more time there. We don't actually hear him say that, but I can imagine. Perrin's description of Lord Luke on page 652 of my copy. The man's smell stood out among the others, cold and separate too, almost as if he had nothing in common with the men around him, not even humanity. If that isn't confirming, or at least making, like, at least they're pushing me to think that he's one of the Forsaken, I don't know what it could be. This is definitely written to either say that this is what he is, or to make me think that that's what he is, so that I don't trust him. I could go either way with this at the moment. I don't know what it is. It's good Perrin's suspicious of him. I am suspicious of him, and I mean, he could be something that's not the Forsaken as well. He could just be a nasty, nasty person. I don't know. I'm really, really intrigued by that, and I assume I'll find out by the end of the book. I've got 14 chapters to go of the book. I'm assuming in one of them I'll find out who Lord Luke is. Anyway, so what is Alana up to? Sending Ivan to Perrin is very unusual to separate from her water. She's a mystery. I mean, I know that they do separate from their waters, but it's very, very strange. It's more to Alana, and don't know. I just don't know. I mean, we've barely seen anything about her as of yet. She's a mystery. Egwene and Verin both warned him about her, but Verin was more focused on Tarvalon politics, I think. Egwene was warning about a slight suspicion of her being of the Black Aja, even if she didn't come out and say that. That's when they talk about suspicion, when Gwen and Eve and Elaine talk about suspicion, they're talking about Black Aja. When Varen is talking about Alana warning, it sounded more like she has her own agenda, so be careful. So yeah, I don't know, I'm super curious. Was it a coincidence that Trollocs went a different way, or did they have warning that Perrin and his hunters were in the area? I feel that it was too coincidental. They must have known that they were there. Someone must have rerouted them, but I don't know, and they don't know, and wow, it's just so much. It's so much. Oh, anyway, it looks like Perrin's acquired 2 new names in the Two Rivers: Trolloc Hunter, strong connection to Wolf's distaste for them, so that's very interesting, and Golden Eyes, which is an obvious one, which isn't very new or original, but it's a really good one. Perrin Golden Eyes, I like it. I guess that may be a focus for him moving forward, Trolloc hunting. So that could be very much where his focus is, that his is more on the Trolloc side of things, not necessarily ignoring anything else, but there could be a real big push for him to do that, which does make a lot of sense given the wolves, how much they don't like Trollocs and the half-men and all that kind of stuff. I think that makes a lot of sense. Chapter 41, Among the Tuathaean. Tuathaean? I've actually never said that out loud. Tuathaean? Yeah. Anyway, Perrin the Wolf King. I like it. I like this. I like that he's acquiring these new names. It's awesome. And to see the Tinkers, Tinkers is a much easier word to say. To see them again, Rayan and Illa and Aram, I'd hoped we'd see them again. I expected to see Aram again. I wasn't so sure on the others. Really happy that we're seeing them. I'm surprised and very happy Perrin and Fael have finally been honest to each other. This is awesome. Fael is a lady and a cousin to the queen, to a queen anyway. Perrin explained his wolf stuff and Fael was unfazed by it. And maybe I can like her, maybe I can grow to like her if she accepts Perrin and they talk to each other. If they do those 2 things, if she accepts him and they talk to each other, maybe I will like Fael. I'll probably like her. There is a part of me that's very fearful for what might happen to the Tinkers. I'm actually quite worried for them. They're in danger while Perrin is with them from both the White Cloaks and the Trollocs, and if they work out that Perrin has any connection to them, then that's also going to be really bad. It's the kind of thing that could turn Aram away from the Way of the Leaf if something happens to the rest of them. He's a funny one. He's yeah, I think he's a very interesting one. I think he's questioning things, but not admitting that he's questioning it. So anyway, I love that Perrin's legendary status is growing with the locals. I just think that's fantastic. Imagine the stories they're going to tell after this and how they're going to blow them out of proportion and make, like, notice things that didn't, and take meaning from them that don't mean what they think that they mean, or just over exaggerate. Perrin the Trolloc Hunter, friend of the Tinkers. It's all going to be really great. I hope that we, at some point, I'd really love to hear, or get to read, obviously I'm not going to hear it, but hear a ballad or a song that's been written about them, because I just think that would be really fun. I am assuming at some point we'll find out more about the Tinkers and the Isle. I want to know more about the connection there. I know we saw a lot in Rand's vision, but I want more. I just want more. I want to know everything. I find them both fascinating. They are so cool to learn more about. And the lost ones, like the words they use, how they describe each other, and it's just really cool. Do the Tinkers call the Isle that as well? Maybe they call them the Lost Ones. Maybe I just don't. I love it. I absolutely love it. I cannot explain how much I am really loving finding out all about the backstory, and all of this world building is just phenomenal. Wow. I haven't written this lately, and I am really loving this book. Anyway, in case you hadn't worked that out, I needed to write it down. I can't fully explain what reading this book is doing to me. I'm so excited to keep going. I think you're getting that from me at the moment. I'm really, really loving it. I had a lot of trouble last night. I was reading and it was getting really late and I had a lot of trouble stopping. I just wanted to finish the book last night and I would have been up all night if I'd done that, so I didn't. But maybe this weekend, maybe, I hope. Anyway, keep going. Chapter 42, A Missing Leaf. Ooh, not more Trollocs. It's going to be a slaughter and I'm so worried. Well, maybe not. If Perrin can get it shut somehow. Loyal might have to go and do that though. It probably means destroying the gate though, or removing the leaves permanently, and I don't know what that'll do to the gate. So yeah, they're gonna have to do something about that. Who is Slayer? This possible Malkeri person. It's not Ordeth, but potentially they're hunting Ordeth. I assume he's the renegade Slayer speaks of. I'm so looking forward to seeing this all play out. Hopefully with a happy ending, of course. I would really like a happy ending for the two Rebus folk, but I think we're going to lose some of them. It's the same person who almost shot Nynaeve as well. I hope we find out who he is soon, although the mystery could keep going for ages. This is the kind of thing that could linger for quite some time. It's very, very interesting and wow, amazing. Love it. Perrin and Egwene need to avoid sleeping potions. This was really kind of a bit of a worry. They may get stuck if they take sleeping potions. Perrin probably needs to tell Fael that it's not a good idea to give him a sleeping potion. That might not be good. Or they at least need to work out some of the rules of the dream world, so that they know how to leave and go into, like what Perrin did. He left the dream world but kept sleeping, but I don't think he wasn't in the dream world anymore. He was actually having a proper dream. So if they can work out a little bit of that, the rules around that, they'll be safer. So I hope that they can. At least Perrin knows when he's in the dream world now and knows that that's what's happening. I'm even more worried for the Tinkers after their farewell. It was quite drawn out, or not like crazy drawn out, but it was prolonged enough that it's made me more worried about the Tinkers. But maybe they'll end up near Eamon's Field at some point, and that might be good for them. They could help care for the injured after a Trolloc attack, if they get there after the Trolloc attack. If they're there, they'll just get in the way, and that won't be a good thing, but anyway, hopefully they're okay. I'm not convinced Lord Luke isn't Slayer. I'm not convinced he is Slayer, but I'm not also convinced that he isn't. I know they look different. We know some of the Forsaken can shapeshift, so it's a possibility that it's the same person. I'm not convinced that it is, but it's still a possibility. It's also possible Slayer is someone brand new who we don't know or haven't met yet. We may have heard of them but haven't met them. I haven't forgotten Ordeth has a fade and a plan, and that is a worry. Is it a plan against Perrin and crew, or is it against Slayer and the Trollocs, or is it against the White Cloaks? He has a plan, and it's scary because he's capable of doing a lot of damage. So much I'm unsure about, which is amazing. I think this is why I'm so excited about it, because I just have no idea. I cannot tell you what is going to happen by the end of this book, and that is amazing. Like, it is amazing. It is keeping me guessing in ways the other three books didn't do, and I think that's the first three books followed a predictable path. I think there were things in it that took me by surprise, but the twists were pretty predictable. These are not. There are so many variables at play in this book, and it's amazing, and I love that. And that makes me just think, if this, in book 4, if this is how many variables are happening, how much is being thrown at us, imagine what's going to happen in book 14. Like, I'm just that excited. I know that I've still got a lot to go, but wow, it's amazing. So back to the notes again. Chapter 43, Care for the Living. And isn't that a really beautiful title? I'm really enjoying Perrin getting his hero moment with the boys in the village that used to be his village friends. And it made me start thinking, because Perrin was in town, at least once he was apprenticed. He probably saw a lot of these other villagers more than he saw Matt and Rand, because they were all out on farms. So he would have known them quite well. They were his friends, and that's very very important to remember. He's got this connection. They've all got the connection. It's that it wasn't just this threesome, this trio. It wasn't just this trio of Matt, Rand and Perrin just running around together. There were other people at part of their lives. We met one of them. I can't remember the name. I think we meet him again in this chapter. But way back, there was that other one who was slightly younger than them all. So anyway, just like Rand, he thinks everything is his responsibility. That's an issue. The Waygate is a problem, yes. But I doubt Perrin will actually go and fix it. I really feel... Loyal may go while Perrin is unconscious. I just hope he takes someone with him for backup. Veren's saying she has other skills. Not so much with healing. That she made some comment that she'd leave the healing for Alana because she has other skills. We've seen what she can do with this storm, but I don't know what her other skills are, and that's awesome. I just love Veren. I love what a mystery she is. Are her other skills learning? Like she learns things? Is it the power of observation? Because we do know that she observes a lot more than people realise. The mystery of Veren continues to grow, and I am here for it. I absolutely adore not knowing anything about Veren and just guessing. I think it's amazing. Lord Luke's causing problems between the Eamon's Field folk and the White Cloaks, which again makes me really suspicious of him. Will it become an all-out attack from the White Cloaks? And maybe the White Cloaks and the Trollocs on different sides will attack at the same time. Possibly the White Cloaks first, and then a Trolloc attack with the hope it'll take out Ordith as well, maybe, from the Trollocs and Slayer. And maybe a chance for Bornhold Jr. to see Perrin is not a dark friend. Maybe he'll become the first White Cloak, I don't want to say ally, but the first White Cloak to not distrust them as much. Or at least he may leave Perrin alone. Look, I'm just taking a wild guess there. I kind of hope that that's the case, but I honestly have no idea. So many questions, so much is up in the air. I'd better keep reading because I just need to know. But then I came back. Also, I probably should be more worried about Perrin being at death's door, but I'm not. I trust Alana will heal him and he'll be okay, because like that's going to happen. So anyway, final chapter for today, chapter 44, The Breaking Storm. There is so much tension. I am really like finding this so full of tension. Wow, have I said that enough this video? Yes, I love it. Loyal and Gaul have disappeared to deal with the Waygate. Gaul is probably Loyal's best shot at surviving this and actually succeeding. So I'm very hopeful they manage to achieve their goal without needing any backup. I hope. I like that Fael is reminding Perrin he can't do it all on his own. No one can. Really important to remember from a mental health perspective. No one can do it on their own. Maybe the events of this book for Perrin and what he learns in this book will help him be able to step up as a general working alongside Rand. So Rand doesn't have to do it all alone, because it's a lesson Rand needs to learn as well. But I think he's trying to work out who he can trust, because Rand has worked out that he can trust, say, Tom with certain things and Lan with certain things, and he's worked out that but he needs to work out how to do that better. And maybe if Perrin can show what he's capable of, maybe they can become more of a team, and Matt a part of that hopefully too at some point. I really like how Varen and Alana are stepping aside. Oh, this is beautiful. Doing what they can to help, but allowing Perrin to take command. It makes me suspect Varen has maybe more knowledge of these to Vern and what Perrin and Matt's role might be, or she may suspect something that she's not letting on at this stage. She's obviously spent a lot of time observing Perrin and Matt, and Rand as well, but a little less. And when she's observed Matt, he was under the influence of the dagger, so she hasn't really seen him since he was healed. So she's seen a lot of Perrin during the Great Hunt particularly. So has not only learned how to gently guide and when to be more upfront with him, but also has an idea of what Perrin is capable of. It got me thinking, most of what we saw of Perrin in the Great Hunt was through his point of view. We never saw any of those scenes through anyone else's point of view. When Rand was in the other world and all that, that was always through that unreliable point of view that wasn't believing in himself. So there's a lot that he's capable of that he will not have realized about himself at this stage, and about his abilities just in general. Not his wolf abilities, just his personal abilities. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see that unfold as he learns these things. Varen's observed them, and I think that's why she trusts him so much and is able to is pushing him a little bit to step into that leadership role. He's coming into his own, and I love it. I love this for Perrin. I hope that it's something that he can be at least somewhat at ease with. I'm more intrigued by Alana at the moment than anyone else. What's her purpose? What's her intention? Why is she there? What is going on? I'm super curious. At a guess, I'm thinking the attack starting at the end of the chapter is potentially the White Cloaks, but equally it could simply be a second wave of Trollocs, and there'll be wave after wave of Trolloc attacks designed purely to tire them out until they make a mistake or are just too exhausted to keep going. So could go either way, and hopefully Loyal gets to that waygate and that all works out okay. That is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that I'm not too far off with some of my gushing moments and some of my guesses, but otherwise I have 2 videos to go for this book. This book feels, I've been reading this book for a long time, so I'll be actually really happy to finish with this and move on to the next one. I don't even know what the next one's called. The Fires of Heaven is up there on the next shelf up. I'm really excited about that, and I hope that I continue to enjoy this book. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will not be disappointed because it's just been so amazing so far. But I'm looking forward to finishing that next week. Hopefully I'll finish reading it this weekend so I can actually process exactly how I'm feeling about it before I share the video with you. And yeah, get down in the comments. Tell me who you were suspicious of at this time, or really just tell me anything you want. Get down in the comments and let's have a chat about whatever you would like. I don't mind. And I will see you with more videos next week. And yeah, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, share with your friends, do whatever you want. And I will see you again soon. Bye.